Though it may be hard to imagine a time in Buffy the Vampire Slayer without the show's biggest fan favorites, several of Buffy's best characters weren't introduced until after Season 1. While Buffy Season 1 only a masterpiece at the end, it still gave us most of the show's beloved characters, including Willow, Giles, Angel, Cordelia, and the Slayer herself, Buffy Summers. Of course, characters would come and go across Buffy's 7 seasons, and along the way, the fandom would fall in love with a rogue Slayer, various love interests, and one particular bleach blonde villain-turned-love interest. Buffy truly wouldn't be the great show it was without these late-to-the-party characters. Daniel Ounce Osborne introduced Season 2, Episode 4, Inca Mummy Girl. Ounce had a seemingly innocuous introduction, first appearing as the guitarist of Dingo's Ate My Baby, a rock band he plays in with Devon McAlish, Cordelia's paramour du jour. But Ounce would go on to become so much more. From his very first episode, Season 2, Episode 4, Inca Mummy Girl, it's clear that Ounce is smitten with Willow right from the minute he sees her in a ridiculously temperature-inappropriate Eskimo costume at the Bronze. Cultural appropriation wasn't really a thing back then. For the next couple of episodes, Ounce finds himself regularly bumping into Willow, asking himself in amazement, who is that girl? This isn't an ordinary case of the male gaze or Ounce fetishizing dorky women. He can see Willow's soul and is attracted to her for exactly who she is. For nerdy girls growing up watching the show, who identified more with Willow than Buffy, this was powerful. Ounce sent the message that yes, sweet, attractive guys exist, and you don't need to change who you are or how you look for them to like you. When Ounce and Willow do finally start dating later in Season 2, he quickly proves himself to be the best boyfriend in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Ounce constantly protects and defends Willow without ever wanting her to sacrifice her own agency, and he encourages her to pursue magic and her power while also expressing appropriate concern. Of course, Ounce is also a werewolf. This is a fascinating twist, as it's the first time Buffy really explores ethical demon hunting, seeing how Ounce is a regular guy, save the 3 nights of the full moon. Unfortunately, though he tried to manage his werewolf condition, it became too much. Ounce eventually left in the underrated Buffy Season 4, breaking Willow's heart along with the audience's. This was arguably just as painful a breakup as Buffy killing Angel and sending him to hell just as he got his soul back. The ultimate reason for OZ's Buffy departure is that Seth Green's star got too big and he wanted to pursue other projects. But while he was on the show, Buffy was all the better for it. Anya Jenkins introduced in Season 3, Episode 9, The Wish. Anya's journey throughout Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of versatility, as she has been everything from a villainous demon to a noble heroine. When she was introduced in Season 3, Episode 9, The Wish, it seemed like Anya would simply be one of Buffy's best monsters of the week, a vengeance demon who grants Cordelia's wish and sends her into an alternate reality where Buffy never came to Sunnydale. However, rather than simply being vanquished, Anyanka is stripped of her demonic powers and forced to live out her existence as Anya the Mortal. As Anya hasn't been human for over 1,000 years, she struggles to adapt, and it's through her filterless commentary on and observation of human society that Buffy finds much of its humor. Though she inexplicably fell for the toxic Xander, their relationship grew into one of mutual love and affection, and the two shared many sweet moments. It was through Anya's romance with Xander that she opened herself up to being vulnerable, which just made it all the more heartbreaking when he left her at the altar. Anya's death in the Buffy series finale was incredibly controversial because of its brevity, both the death scene itself and the characters mourning her after the final battle. Thankfully, the bunny-fearing capitalist who stole our hearts will forever live on in the Buffy fandom. Faith Lahane introduced in Season 3, Episode 3, Faith, Hope and Trick. Before Faith stormed onto the scene, Buffy was considered the rebellious slayer. Rather than rule books and isolation, Buffy had witty one-liners and a core group of friends who fought alongside her against vampires, demons, and the forces of darkness. But when she met Faith, Buffy looked like a total watcher's pet in comparison. The show biffed its first attempt at a second Slayer with Kendra, a total stick-in-the-mud with an offensive accent. But Buffy nailed it with Faith. While Kendra took stoic pride in her Slayer duties and Buffy begrudgingly performed hers, Faith reveled in the violence she got to inflict on any supernatural creatures unfortunate enough to cross paths with her. For a moment, Buffy found herself seduced by Faith's rebellious attitude and belief that being the Slayer meant she was entitled to do whatever she wanted. But as Buffy would discover, Faith's living large facade was a thin veil, hiding one of the most emotionally vulnerable characters in Buffy the Vampire Slayer history. More than power and freedom, Faith simply wanted to be loved, and nobody in her life had ever truly given her that basic human right. Faith's envy of Buffy, and how love came so easily to her, was too much to bear, resulting in Faith going rogue and joining forces with one of Buffy's best ever villains, the Mayor. Ironically, it was by Breaking Bad that Faith got the love she so desperately sought. Watching Faith and the mayor's scenes out of context may actually find audiences rooting for them due to their sweet and incredibly genuine pseudo-father-daughter relationship. Of course, Faith found herself on the losing side after Buffy sent her into a coma before dispensing with her father figure. Upon waking from it, Faith was left confronted with her own choices, and though she initially planned to return to villainy, she turned herself in for her crimes in Angel. Faith's very dramatic redemption arc came to a head in the Buffy finale when she fought alongside Buffy, the Scoobies, and the Potentials turned Slayers. It's hard to think of a Buffy character more fascinating than Faith. She's truly a 5x5, one of a kind. Tara McClay introduced in Season 4, Episode 10, Hush. Hush may be most famous for being one of the best Buffy episodes of all time or its terrifying villains, the Gentleman, but the almost dialogue-free episode also introduced a shy young witch named Tara McClay. In an attempt to get over Ounce, Willow joined UC Sunnydale's Wicca group. While she found most members a bunch of phonies, she recognized the real deal in Tara. Buffy characters with big personalities like Faith and Spike boldly announced themselves, but Tara's introduction was much quieter, though she quickly proved she was just as important to the show. It was obvious why Willow was so drawn to her, and watching them go from fellow witches to the best couple in Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of the show's best storylines. Even though she had some meekness to work through, Tara showed that being quiet and introverted doesn't make you any less powerful. Beyond her witch powers, Tara radiated emotional intelligence and empathy so much that she was the only one Buffy told about her sexual relationship with Spike. Tara never needed to be